Live at lunch.
You are looking live.
Live at lunch. Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
What the hell's going on out here?
Now, here's Jimmy Ott and Charles Hannegriff.
Yeah, for some reason or another, you sound a little taller on radio.
Is it live? Is it live? Is it live? Is it live?
From Modesto, corner of Burbank and Nicholson, welcome to the Wednesday edition of Live at Lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. I'm Charles Hannegriff along with Jimmy Ott. Jordan Kinchin's back in the studio. We're here at Modesto Tacos, Tequila, Whiskey. Great place to stop by on your way to LSU events. Baseball, softball, football in the fall, basketball.
Game day specials.
Yeah, pick a sport, man.
You know, food and drink specials for whatever it is. So, you know, it's always a good crowd over here for on the way to LSU baseball. Always.
And we're out on the patio today because the weather is fabulous.
It's awesome, man. It's always a breezeway, even when it gets warmer, deeper into the schedule. So, really, really nice over here.
We got a lot of Master stuff to do today with the tournament starting tomorrow, par 3 today. I always like watching a little bit of the par 3. They're real relaxed out there. You know, sometimes they have their kids or their wives or, you know, some other relative, their parents, caddying for them. And, you know, it's a good lighthearted thing before the tournament gets in full swing tomorrow.
The family dressed up like the caddies.
Yeah,
you know.
yeah, it's a pretty cool thing to see, actually. And then tomorrow they tee it up for real. We'll have a lot of picks. Wes Reynolds, of course, is our golf expert. Max, our local golf expert, has got his picks. And we'll see. I don't know if Randy McKay delves into the golf. I know he delves into the hockey, but I don't know. Is he going to get?
I'm not sure.
We'll ask him if he's got an opinion on the Masters. We'll do that. Scott Rabelais is with us also. We'll get his thoughts on, among other things, LSU gymnastics. Of course, moving on to the national finals coming up later this month. And Scott is at the Masters, so that's going to be our primary talk with him. But we start today with LSU baseball last night, losing yet another midweek game, this one to Bethune-Cookman. I told you yesterday before we got out right at the end of the show, Bethune-Cookman's not bad. They've played some quality competition. They've beaten South Florida a couple of times. They had played a really close game with Miami. They played Florida State. They got beaten that one pretty good, but they are universally thought they're in first place in the SWAC in a tie, and most people think that they are the best team in the SWAC. No argument there.
New addition. No, they're not the traditional.
They're not a traditional. No,
where they're located, there's a million high school. There's a million baseball players. And, you know, if you want to stay the historical black, or, you know, like what Roger Cador did, went multiracial, man, and really supplement guys like from Venezuela, like Fernando Puebla and stuff like that. I mean, they've diversified their roster, and they're utilizing their resources. They're not one of these typical SWAC teams. No.
Martinez, Rodriguez, Almonte, Rodriguez, Rivera, Morales, Zambrano. That's
go.
About.
Did you watch the World Baseball Classic?
Did I watch? Yeah.
Did you see the crowds in Miami?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So Bethune-Cookman is, like I said, a pretty. This is not one of these SWAC teams that we've seen come in here over the years, fielding 930 with a team ERA of 8.5. They're a quality group, and if you watched the game last night, which I did late into the night, you see that it's a pretty quality club for the resources that they have.
Now, I watched when it was 6-6.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're hitting guys left and right. We can't find a plate, so I don't care who you're playing. I mean, you can play Tennessee, Bethune-Cookman, or Arkansas Pine Bluff. I mean,
and therein lies your problem. The LSU's problem last night was not Bethune-Cookman. Yes, they are a quality program out of SWAC, but they are not supposed to beat LSU at Alex Box Stadium. And these problems have been they've been here pretty much since the second week of the season. LSU swept in the first 2 weeks of the season, but since then these problems have been multifaceted. Number one, defensively, this is simply not a very good unit, and I say that with the best fielding shortstop that I have seen here, and we've seen plenty of them.
Really?
Now,
strong.
Yeah, when you think about Bregman and Terrio and Rush Johnson and Brandon Larson and Josh Smith. You could go on and on with this guy has got the best glove that I've seen. Now, Ronnie Rance made a good point on the broadcast last night. When you compare the modern shortstops at LSU, which is everything, he was counting everything 2009 forward because that's when they moved into the new stadium. This is a superior field to the old Alec box as far as getting a true hop and the way the field is maintained. He says, so when you talk about Jason Williams and Rush Johnson and Ryan Terrio and those guys that had to deal with a field that was not nearly what the quality of this one is, you have to take that into consideration. I thought that was a very fair point. But, yeah, Milam, he made another play in the hole last night that I think probably 8 out of 10 college shortstops don't make. So he's been excellent.
His one error was marginal, huh?
I really thought that Dardar should have caught the ball. It wasn't a perfect
Certainly
throw.
could have.
Yes, it wasn't a perfect throw, but I thought he could have caught the ball. But the constant errors and balls that aren't called errors that I think that they should come up with. There was one ball in particular last night to John Pearson at third base that, no, it's not an error, but you got to come up with that ball. Same thing on the play on Sunday where Dardar throws over to first and York drops the ball. Well, they call the error on York, as they should have, but it's a lousy throw on top of that. Last night you had another one of those that opened the floodgates even more in what was a 5-run inning. That's one of the problems. The next problem is you just don't have enough guys throwing strikes. They used 9 pitchers last night, and every single one of them, I thought, had some kind of flaw in their game. They only walked a couple, but they hit multiple batters. And Maverick Rizzi, who they put a lot of faith in and whose ERA looks fine at a little over 3.5, it comes in and hits a guy and walks 2 runs in. You add up the errors, the hit batsman, the walks, just inability to come in and throw a doggone strike. That's going to hamstring you. I'm sorry. There's only so much the coach can do at that point. You bring in guy after guy, and they're not throwing enough strikes. For instance, Rizzi came in through 19 pitches. 8 of them were strikes. Well, that's not enough. That's not going to do it. And LSU hit the ball last night. They had 11 hits in the game. Aaron Beatty continues to swing a hot bat. He had 3 hits and hit one to straightaway center field that goes 400 feet, barely stays in the park. One of his outs was a laser beam at third base that could easily be a double if it was 2 feet to the left or right, but they caught that one. And Curiel had 3 more hits, so they were hitting the ball. That wasn't the problem. But again, another key spot. There are holes in this. There are holes in this thing. Trying to get back into the game, LSU had the bases loaded and nobody out, in the top of the order up in the 7th inning. They're down at that point 10-6. They got the bases loaded. Milam, Curiel, Milam Brown, and Curiel are due up. Bethune-Cookman makes a change. They bring in a guy who's throwing off-speed pitches. He comes in, strikes out all 3 of them. Well, there was your chance to get back in this thing. You can't ask for anything more than bases loaded, nobody out, in the top of the order up. You pray for stuff like that, and all 3 of them struck out on what was about 90% breaking balls, 90% changeups. That can't happen either. So it was an ugly game because it had poor defense, you had poor relief pitching, and the one time, like I said, you hit the ball enough, but the one time you needed to hit it, you didn't do that. Got asked this morning, is this the RPI killer? Let me say a couple things about the RPIs. First of all, I think it's still just a touch early to get too wrapped up in them, although we're getting closer to that point. Second thing is one loss even to, and Bethune-Cookman's in the low 200s in the RPIs, and that's probably where they'll end up for the season. So it's not like it's one of those 330 RPI games. one or two of these is not going to kill you. The national championship team last year got run ruled by Northwestern in April. So this stuff happens. But you got 5 of them now. You lost 2 games to Sacramento State. You lost a game to Northeastern. You lost a game to McNeese. That's going to start to matter here if things are close. Do I think it's close enough to worry about right now? No, and the reason I don't is because you've got 18 games left in the conference, and 15 of those games, everything but the South Carolina series, is against teams that are currently in the top 22 in the RPI. And that includes Georgia, who, though they're leading the league, is the lowest RPI team out of the groups the teams that they still play. So I think your Southeastern Conference win rules that we kind of follow around here, you get 14 or 15 wins, you're going to get in the tournament. You get 16 or 17 wins, you're probably going to be in good shape to host a regional. Get 18 or 19 wins or more, you've got a shot at being a national seed. But none of that matters if you don't win enough games in the Southeastern Conference. This only matters if you get to a spot where you're borderline, okay? That game last night is not going to get you in or keep you out of the tournament per se, but along with the other 4, it's going to be another counting point. So they've got plenty of time. But if you play like that, and they got themselves behind in the last 2 Sunday games, they've gotten themselves behind in a number of Southeastern Conference games. To their credit, they pulled themselves out the last 2 Sundays, but you keep putting yourself in that position, and sooner or later, something like what happened last night. You're in a position to come back, but you just don't get a hit. So disheartening, not so much the loss. You're going to lose some midweek games here and there, but you've lost too many of these things, and you're not playing good baseball.
Fielding in the SEC last, 16th. Walks 14 out of 16.
Yep.
Wild pitches last 47. You know his second most?
Probably somewhere in the low 30s.
32.
Yeah.
It's one shy of 50% more than the worst besides you.
You got the hit batters because that's up there too. I don't need to know the exact number. It's a lot.
The hit by pitch. Oh yeah, it's you got 47 of those too.
Yeah, there's been just a ton of those.
That is second most in the SEC. It's just wild pitches. Like I said, I mean it's just
and those wild pitches,
double plays. You're 14th out of 16th. I mean you're doing a lot of things. It's sloppy, and it has not cleaned up. And I mean they didn't. These guys didn't play like this at the previous level to get recruited.
No,
there's no way. There's no way. Johnson is hand picking, his guys.
I'll give you an example. Zach York. Okay, I realize he came from Grand Canyon, but I'm just going to talk about his defense for a second here. He committed 8 errors in 3 years. Okay, that's a reasonable amount for a first baseman. He's a starter. He's made 5. Okay, and that's just the ones they've credited him with here in a little bit better than half a season. Is first base that much different? Fielding the position?
The ground balls are ground balls.
That's it.
You throws from short, third, and set. I mean, it just all. That's all. It's kind of that's why you can go and switch teams. And look fine. I mean, it's just those are all the same, Charlie.
Now let me ask you about wild pitches, okay? Because what's the number there? 47.
47.
Okay. What do you think the difference between having an average catcher and a good catcher as far as saving wild pitches? Because I've got a little formula that I go in my head. It's not exact, but it's kind of what I think. If you got a good catcher, an above-average defensive catcher, as opposed to a below-average defensive catcher.
Well, this is part of it. I was going to.
I think a good defensive catcher could save as many as half of those. A really good defensive catcher, but let's just say an average defensive catcher
might be a little high, just a tad.
Let's say,
that's fair.
I would say that. They
already have. I mean, they're saving some.
Their catching is well below average.
There's no
defensive
doubt.
catching is well below average. That wild pitch number, look, a lot of these are legitimate wild pitches. I'm not saying they're not throwing enough strikes, but those wild pitches, an above average defensive catcher would have saved a number of those.
That would be I think there would be more like closer to the second worst, like 32.
Yeah.
There would be 50% more than the worst.
Yeah.
No, that's whenever you have something that extreme. I mean, it's not just the pitchers, of course.
When you got walks, wild pitches, pass balls, hit batters, and when the ball is put in
Errors.
play,
Yes,
the batting average on balls in play because of, again, plays that are not necessarily called errors, but how many runs are you saving? That's an advanced analytic. How many defensive runs are you saving? Not many. And the shortstop's saving you plenty. Okay, the shortstop's probably saving you more than any other shortstop in the league. But everybody else, you're not getting the outfield covers enough ground. But you've got, I would say, two relatively average arms in left and center. And you got a bazooka arm in right field. He just doesn't know where he's going. Brown's had, I think, 4 or 5 errors this year on throws. He's a big league talent. He just got to get that. He got to get the target on that thing. He's got plenty on. That's not the problem. So, a lot of stuff, man, to clean up. I wrote yesterday or Monday that LSU. You want? So what do you think about this team? I think it's a team with some stars. And I think it's a team with a lot of holes. You've got an elite fielding shortstop. You've got 2 big leaguers in the outfield. And you've got at least one starting pitcher, if not more, that I think are big league talents. But, man, you got holes in the bullpen. You got defensive holes everywhere. Just tough go right now. The other good news for you, if you want to look at it this way, is most of the teams in the league have the exact same issues that LSU does. Maybe they're somewhere else. Maybe they're in the outfield as opposed to on the infield. But there's nobody that's running away with this thing.
Oh, yes, indeed. Come on over here to Modesto, and if you headed to the box, man, look, it's a great place. We got the game day specials, food and drink specials over here all the time. So every game day. Happy hour over here is always good as well, and that's Tuesday through Friday, and from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. And don't forget brunch. It's served Saturday and Sunday. So weekend brunch over here with kind of a little bit of everything, man. You talk about good. The omelets, French toast, different with a Mexican touch to it. It's Saturday and Sunday, 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. And, of course, take advantage of the great weather over here right now as we a little open-air edition of Live at Lunch, live from Modesto on Burbank.
Here at Modesto, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at Lunch with Ott and Hanny from Modesto on Burbank on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Remember, you can always get the show on demand, 1045ESPN.com, LouisianaSports.net, new Handycast, and YouTube on LSU Baseball. Brought to you by Supreme Rice, celebrating 90 years in business here in 2026. Supporting our Louisiana farmers, go to SupremeRice.com. The Masters starts tomorrow, and, of course, Scotty Scheffler is the favorite, but he is no longer at certain places the biggest liability for the sports books, including the one at BetMGM and Caesars. So the biggest liability now is Bryson DeChambeau, who has been making up a lot of ground as far as ticket count, although Scheffler still got him there by a little bit. DeChambeau at plus 1050 at our local outlet here at DraftKings at the Queen and at Bally's. John Rahm at plus 900 in between him and Scheffler, who is sitting at plus 510 to win the green jacket. Max, you're our live correspondent. DeChambeau has won the last 2 live tournaments that nobody pays attention to, but it means he's playing some good golf, I guess. So this surprise you to take account?
Oh, it doesn't surprise me because he's a popular golfer. I think that's the big thing. People want to see Bryson do well. He's got the YouTube channel and all those things. He has those going for him. And if you look just at his 2 wins, I understand why you'd see him in good form. For what it's worth, I think John Rahm's playing better. He's not been winning as much, but he's been consistently performing on Live. Top fives galore. Did have a win earlier this year. And I think Rahm is probably the better case of being a popular pick this week. I've heard a lot of his name. I don't know if there's, bigger bets on him or if it's just the smaller variety for Bryson, and you're just getting a lot more of the ticket count. But I've heard a lot of Jon Rahm this week. I've not heard as much about Bryson, but I understand why he would be bet a lot considering his popularity.
You see Rahm's results in Live this season, huh?
Yes.
It's averaging like a little over 2. It's like a 1, a 2, a 2, a 2, a 4, a 5, a 6. I mean, it's now, how would that translate on the PGA Tour? I mean, it's still very good, huh?
You've got at least half the field. So, he's got top 5 finishes in every start this year, including his worst finish was 5th. He did that once. Everything else he's finished runner-up or better, like you mentioned. So he has been very, very good on Live, but kind of lacking in the wins department over the last few years, and has not had the best major track record. He played well at the PGA last year, but that is something I'd look to. If you talked about better form, I would look at Rahm. I would look at Rahm of the Live guys.
Jimmy, they finally found a buyback spot, I guess, on Scotty Scheffler.
What is Rahm? Is DeChambeau shorter than Rahm right now?
No, Rahm's at plus 900. DeChambeau's at plus 1050. It's close.
And Rahm has moved. Huh? I mean, people are betting.
Correct. I would say Rahm's moved among the most that I've seen on the odds board this year.
Okay.
They found a buyback spot on Scotty Scheffler. He got down as low as plus 380 at his lowest point. Kane was 440 coming into the week. He's now plus 510. The sports books are not particularly sweating him because of the odds got so low on him, but they finally found a buyback spot on him.
Well, I mean, we finally seen some, tail off. I mean, we've seen some. He's off. I mean, Max, some of the his irons, which are just ridiculous, level for so long, are pretty average. And I mean, it was only his putter that he had to sweat, and that's not the case anymore. And he's obviously got some distractions, and he's off schedule. I mean, if there's ever a time to fade Scheffler, it's now, huh, Max?
I think so, but you could argue certainly that 6-1, which I'm seeing as high as 6-1 on him, might be a value at some point.
But
he's
this
got
is the poorest form he's been since when?
Oh, at least the last
4 years. 3-4 years.
3 years. I mean,
through this tear. Since he started this ridiculous tear,
just had his second child a couple weeks ago as well. But he had 19 straight top 10 finishes after the Pebble Beach Pro-Am. Since then, he's finished outside the top 10 in 3 straight. Now, granted, he's finished top 25 in all those, so he's not like missing cuts or anything. But by his standards, he has dipped in form. And you mentioned that dip in approach play. The iron play has not been as good this year. He seems to be a little ornery, I would guess, a little rough around the edges. And when he's asked about it, he was asked earlier this week.
You buy into that. Why?
Because it just kind of shows confidence.
Turns one bad shot or one bad hole into a few more? Or?
I think it can. I think it gets in their head. It just kind of shows you where their confidence lies. And golfers, a lot of times, lie to themselves in the media. They tell themselves, oh, I'm playing great golf right now. Just, I'm not seeing the results, but I feel like I'm hitting the ball as well as I ever can, because they want to tell themselves that they're hitting the ball well. They want to give themselves the confidence. And honestly, he's sort of telling you, oh, I feel like I'm hitting it as well as I am. But you can tell around the surface, it feels like he's working through things. It feels like him and his swing coach are definitely, trying to find something right now, and that's something to keep your eye on.
I mean, you got to go back to when his first win was. I mean, we can all kind of associate with that on this show, and that's when Burrow played in the Super Bowl. That was his first win, and I mean, after that, it was just been. I mean, it's been an unbelievable level for so long, and it's just a little. There's some things going on, man. I mean, it wasn't that long ago. We're talking about you got to play without markets. Well, he's dipped off a little bit.
You can't have 2 kids crying at the same time and have somebody else take out. Somebody's got to do the 3 a.m. feeding, right? I mean, you got 2 of them under the age of 3, I think. So
I think so. The one thing to consider, though, is
maybe my man's not getting enough sleep.
They'll let you know.
Since we're talking about the top of the board and Bryson and Rahm and Rory and Scheffler, this has been a chalk fest over the last 4 years. I mean, you think about it. Scheffler, Rory. That's the top of the odds board. And the Masters tends to bring out the best players at the end of the tournament. We've seen Danny Willett win, but he was a top 10 player in the world. People forget that when he won. Now he's 50 to 80 to 1 that week, but he was a top 10 player in the world in the world golf rankings. Hideki Matsuyama kind of came out of left field a little bit. He was 50 to 1, but typically you do not see long shots end up winning this thing, and even middle of the board guys. This is typically going to be the top 10 guys on the odds board are going to be one of the ones who ends up putting on the green jacket at the end of the
Hideki's
week.
a hell of a player, though. I mean, that was a shot, but I mean, it wasn't like he
wasn't playing great, but you weren't stunned considering
No.
his talent.
No.
So
The other mover, I say mover, he's been right there all week. But we've seen a lot of people pick Allberg. Because his game is, I know what you think. You're going to say if the tournament ended on Saturday,
that's right.
I'd shove in, and you got ample evidence to back up.
No,
that point.
It's too much of a pattern now. It's too much of a pattern. You expect him to fall apart if he's on the lead on Sunday because he's done it too many times. Until he just play. I mean, he doesn't just like kind of play cautious. I mean, he blows up. He blows up. I mean, it was, and keep in mind, I don't know how far that shot was on Sunday, on Easter Sunday, but I mean, it was an eagle from about 130, maybe.
Sure.
Okay, I mean, so a lot of luck to just kind of kickstart him again. No, right back in a dumper. The next couple of holes.
Runner-up finish as a debutant 2 years ago, followed it up with a 7th place finish.
How close was he though? When he finished second.
When he finished runner-up, he was there. He was there in the mix at the turn, and then he hit it in the water on 11, and that kind of spiraled things.
He's got one tour win, right?
He's won twice. He's won twice. Once in the fall.
Okay, yeah. But one where, if you remember, that close wasn't exactly just blew away with it.
That was at Torrey Pines.
He stumbled to kind of.
Yeah, needed a birdie the last on 18 there, Torrey. But I would just say if you're playing him, you're playing exclusively on form. He's got back-to-back-to-back 5th place finish, top 5 finishes. And like I said, he fits this golf course to a T. It's just, can you overcome form when you just can't quite, finish the deal? And
bet him till he gets that point.
I get playing form, but look, there was once a time where Scottie Scheffler couldn't win, and then he finally won, and he ripped it off. There was once a time where Xander Schauffele couldn't win majors, and he won 2 in 1 year. So sometimes they break through, but it's hard to trust him, especially at those odds.
Scheffler wants to skip Thursdays. Allberg wants to skip Sundays.
Yes, I would say that's fair.
So talented, man.
Yeah.
He is, and he seems so calm and collected. It doesn't make sense that he would collapse, but I think in some ways he's a fast player, and I don't think he's able to compartmentalize and kind of slow down in some of these instances.
Even when all right, he's back on track. He's back on track when he gets the eagle. He was kind of like laughing, like he knew it was a great shot, but he also knew he got lucky. I mean, like just kind of his disposition doesn't advertise that he's about to choke.
You think emotional guys would be the chokers,
Yes.
but he's not an emotional guy. But he's had some struggles on Sundays.
That blade does all the choking you got to see. So anyway, don't forget our friends at Legacy Title, Chad Reynolds and Legacy Title, and his great team, his long-standing staff. They're easy to deal with. They execute your deal seamlessly. Ashley Donald, Adrian Galata, Michael Platt, Mariana Haynes, Natalie and Bradford Smith. Buying, building, refinancing. Nobody chooses but you. Choose Chad Reynolds and Legacy Title, a full-service title company servicing all of South Louisiana.
Live at Modesto. Live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from Modesto on Burbank on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Uh-oh, they let the big dog out.
Boom! Out of nowhere.
It's time for the big dog, Randy McKay, with his best picks.
Big Dog, how you doing, Randy?
I'm doing pretty well. Just kind of, recuperating from the big Final Four here and getting ready for, which is a big weekend this weekend as well. So, I'm getting some rest in and right back at it Thursday, probably 10 a.m. here with the tailgate.
Let's put a cap on the NCAA basketball tournament. We talked about it going in, how historically big lines, and then you had some, historically wide scoring margins. I mean, more 20-plus scoring margins than ever. And shoot, pretty much a lot of the last the last 7 games, the regional finals on. I mean, Duke and UConn were all the dramatics, but just didn't have quite the level of entertainment. But overall, it was great ratings. The television ratings were good. Handle from some of the Las Vegas people talking about it was down a little bit, but that might be self-induced by some of their ridiculous prices for the stuff. But anyway, from a handicapping perspective, what did we learn, or what was it what we thought it might be as far as a chalk fest?
Yeah, it definitely was a chalk fest, especially early, and then of course you had a couple. And of course you had the dog there late with UConn, and UConn covered a couple times the dog. So when some of these bigger schools are getting some points, maybe you can start to look at the underdogs as when the tournament goes. But I think we're going to keep seeing this trend in this tournament where the chalk is real good early, and might be 1 or 2 surprises, but then there'll be some getting closer where some dogs maybe have some value late, and you just got to shop and make sure you got everybody get the best number there, and everything should have been fine.
You just can't afford also to take one of these teams that's like a finish 4th, 5th, or 6th in their conference. It gets hot in the conference tournament. It represents it. You got to get one of these teams that has a pretty good, for instance, High Point, won their regular season championship in their conference tournament. So UC San Diego was the same way last year, and so I think it's that's the latest adjustment, and that's from the small conferences trying to at least put their top 2 seeds in straight to the semifinals.
Yeah, definitely. I think all them little conferences should do that. Take that kind of method if they want to have a conference tournament, because unless you go undefeated like Miami did, you probably won't. Won't get in, and they were first 4 team, and so they had to play in Dayton, so that was made it even a little tougher for them. At least they got a little exposure, won a game there. But I definitely think them conferences should do that, or maybe I doubt we'll see this in the future, but maybe not even have a conference tournament at all.
They're going to give up that check, so that would be interesting, and it would make the tournament better. There's no doubt about it. It would guarantee that. All right, Frozen Four, the hockey. You got some picks. What you looking at?
Well, we got pretty much an NCHC showdown here versus the Big Ten. You got one game North Dakota versus Wisconsin, versus each other. So there, and then the next game Denver versus Michigan. So of course the NCHC has been the dominant conference here for since realignment, and the Big Ten has not won a national title since they realigned, and the NCHC has won, I believe, 8 out of the last 9. So I'm gonna pretty much stick with my hometown teams there, and I might sound a little biased here. Of course, I have the Fighting Sioux jersey on and rooting for North Dakota, but I think they advance into the championship game, and then play Denver on the other bracket there, who's a little bit of an underdog versus Michigan. So that's what I'm looking at right now.
All right. So let me. What prices are we looking at? The Denver is plus something like a plus 106 is one of them that I'm showing, and North Dakota. I mean, a big favorite over the Big Ten, huh? Almost $2 we're looking at.
Yeah, Wisconsin's a surprise team to get in here. So they're gonna. North Dakota's number 2 rated team. So they're a pretty big favorite. But this coach for Wisconsin that came over from Minnesota, Mankato, has very good experience, Hastings. So I'm a little fearful. They've given North Dakota, when he was at Minnesota, Mankato, he gave North Dakota some trouble there. So I could see that maybe being a closer game than a lot of people think there. So a little nervous about that one.
All right, Max is here today to oversee all of our Masters commentary today. Run by who your group is on and what you're looking at for the Masters tomorrow.
All right, so we don't have any matchups yet. Still kind of waiting on a few there, but we do have some outrights. And the first one we took was old Ludwig Agbera there.
Oh, here we go. I had him Sunday. I had him this week.
Jimmy no likey.
I like it.
He let him down on too many Sundays.
Is this you cashing this ticket in the third round? We don't like cash outs, but this might be the poster child for cash outs. At the end of Saturday.
Yeah, he's like the Cameron Young it used to be. Of course, Cameron Young has been looking pretty good lately, but I don't have anything on him. But we got him at 18-1, so that's one you might want to look at. Another semi-favorite up there is Xander Schauffele. Took him at 15-1, so that's two of the outrights, and then a little longer shot. You guys don't really like Georgia Bulldog guys, but we got Russell Henley at right around 40, I think 44-1 there.
All right. No, we don't mind the Georgia Bulldogs too much. What, Max, your thoughts?
You may hear one of those names later. I'll just tease that one.
Okay. All right.
He had his hands up in the air. He was pumping his fists. He's very enthusiastic about the pick.
Henley in the Ryder Cup, it's kind of flat in that event, but to earn that position, he's what's up with him as of late, Max?
Kind of inconsistent, but the iron play isn't quite what it was last year. But still getting a lot of top 20 finishes over the season. Missed the cut at the Texas Open last week, but I don't think that matters a whole lot. So, Georgia guy, as he mentioned, and always a good player in the South. So, it seems like he would have played better here over the years. Only has one top 10 finish, but he seems to fit the golf course to a T.
Randy, you guys like to do matchups?
Yeah, we like to do matchups. We like to do them a little later than this call, unfortunately. So probably do some more today and later tonight. So still kind of looking at those and shaping the numbers and that kind of thing. There's still a few markets that don't have the matchups out yet. I'm looking at them now, so still kind of waiting for them. I don't see even DraftKings doesn't even have very many of them near parts there. I think the only one that does, there isn't many of them. So. They're pretty much offshore or South Point right now.
Max, what's the deal with the late postings and the matchups?
I'm seeing some. I guess it just depends what you're looking for. And a lot of different books post a lot of different matchups, right? So you might be looking to pick on a certain player where you might not get the same guy on the other side. It could be, if you're going against Hideki, you might get him against Spieth, you might get him against Reed, you might get him against anybody. So it could be hard if you're trying to pinpoint either fading a specific player or backing someone else to figure out who you want to go up against.
Unless my odd feed isn't updating here, but I'm looking at the ones and they got them in the 7,000s, and they go down to they go all the way down to there's about 20 or about 100 of them here down to 7160. So, but a lot of them don't have odds at the major books yet. It's just at the offshores. So,
what's your time?
Be looking for more.
What's your timeline preparing for the NFL draft? By this time next week, we'll have a lot of it, huh?
Yeah, hopefully, as soon as the books, put some more stuff out. But of course, they're a little paranoid after the bombarding they've been having the last 5 years in this. So, that's coming up fast. And everything seems like it's coming up a little faster this year. So you got to be ready for everything. It seems like bang, all of a sudden the Masters is here. All of a sudden Frozen 4 is here. So things are moving pretty fast till we get to the dog days of summer.
2 weeks from tomorrow, the NFL draft.
2 weeks from tomorrow. Yep.
Yeah.
Follow Randy on Twitter at RR39. RR39. Randy, good luck, buddy. We'll talk to you next week.
All right. Thanks, guys. Good luck, everybody out there.
All right, Randy McKay with us each and every Wednesday at this time. So don't forget our friends at Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. If your homeowners association requires wood windows like mine, do it the right way the first time and call Relief Windows, man. Look them up at ReliefWindows.com. You can check out all of their inventory online, or you can give them a call as well. Relief Windows, again, they've got the the windows that are the R-Last gelled windows that are made to last in these extreme South Louisiana weather conditions. 288-8138, 288-8138, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday, and you can check out all of their inventory online at reliefwindows.com.
Live at Modesto, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from Modesto on Burbank on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
We return here at Modesto, out on the patio, enjoying this fabulous weather here. Come by and see us for lunch here at Modesto. SEC announced their Media Days schedule today. First time the event will ever be in the state of Florida. They are in Tampa this year. And this is the first time that in recent memory that LSU is not going first in the order. In fact, Lane Kiffin will be on the final day of SEC Media Days, which will be Thursday, July the 23rd. They, I'm sure they did this on purpose, but they split up the first-year coaches as best they could. Day one, Kentucky, Missouri, Oklahoma, Tennessee go, which means Will Stein, the first-year coach at Kentucky, is on day one. Tuesday is Auburn, Georgia, South Carolina, and Vanderbilt. So Alex Golish in his first year at Auburn on the second day. Wednesday, Alabama, Florida, Ole Miss, and A&M. John Summerall at Florida. And P. Golding, I guess we're calling him a new coach too, even though he coached a few games at the end of last season, is on Wednesday. And then Thursday, Arkansas, LSU, Mississippi State, Texas, Ryan Silverfield debuting for Arkansas.
You think so?
I would have.
Have they done it in the past?
Couldn't tell you. It seemed like they were following more of a when they had it in Birmingham, okay, or Hoover. They always Alabama was the big draw. They the fans would crowd the lobby and everything like that. That seemed like Alabama's slotting was important to them. Maybe they did this by accident, but I would have kind of spread them out for first year coaches, guys that maybe some of the media here haven't talked to at all. Like the SEC media, I don't know how much they've had a chance to interact with Ryan Silverfield or John Summerall. So that's how I would have done it. I don't know what order they're going in yet. They haven't said that. But Lane Kiffin and Steve Sarkisian on the final day, that's probably your biggest day, I would say. Kirby Smart is with Golish, Beamer, and Lee.
Texas preseason number one. Manning Love Fest.
Yeah,
always some attention there.
You're building towards Texas and Manning and Lane Kiffin at LSU. Those would be your headliners. So you put them in the last spot. My guess is that one of them will be in the morning session, one will be in the afternoon session. Yeah,
I would think so.
Yeah. SEC Media Days from the 20th through the 23rd of July in Tampa.
Paul Skeens was outstanding last night. They're underway today in a rubber match of their three-game set at PNC today. So he had a no-hitter into the sixth, getting more run support. Again, now he left when he was 2-1, gave up a solo shot. That was it. But he was really, really sharp and took them out around that 75-80 pitch mark again.
A Seminara said, jump on him. This will be the lowest odds you get him at the rest of the year. Yeah. Got him yesterday at the 7-1 victory.
But that was tough, too.
Hour number 2 from Modesto, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Enjoying the finer things in life is his forte. Let's bring in Scott Rabelais from The Advocate.
Scott Rabelais, his favorite week of the year. He is at Augusta, where the Masters will start tomorrow. Scott, I read this. I'm trying to remember who wrote it earlier this week. He says, what makes the Masters special? He says, I can sum it up in one sentence. He goes, everybody that's here wants to be here. He said, you can't say that about very many places, very many things. He goes, every single person that's at Augusta this week really, really wants to be there. You've been a bunch of times. That pretty much sum it up?
It does. For the adults. I have run across a couple of kids who are whining.
Yeah.
like, Like I said, I asked one mom. I said, one day when they're your age, they'll say, "Remember, Mom took us to the Masters? That was so great." But yeah, it's pretty much true.
Fred Ridley, chairman at Augusta, gives his, I guess, his State of the Union talk every year. What did Freddie have to say?
I was first struck by what he didn't say, which he did not say anything in his opening remarks about Tiger Woods not being here this year, which I thought was kind of interesting. I expected him to say something. His main discussion was about distance. There's been so much talk about distance rollback in the game, and apparently that rollback has been pushed back to 2030 now. But he reaffirmed his belief that needs to happen, especially with the program. He said amateur golfers, recreational golfers like myself and countless other people listening are not going to really notice it. But he's talking about the top of the game. He said he talked to one of the amateurs in the field this year, and he said he said on Tuesday he drove the ball over number one, the bunker on number one, and over the bunkers on number 5. And he said it's a 325-yard carry. He said we can't go much farther back on number 1 unless we knock down the Eisenhower cabin, which is pretty funny for Fred Ridley, let me tell you. Yeah. So obviously, I'm for this. I mean, a lot of players and certainly the equipment makers are not for it. And he talked about some of the talks. He didn't go into detail, but some of the talks he's had with the new PGA Tour CEO Brian Rolapp, and his constituency is not for it. But I think it's for the good of the game. Just look to preserve the way. As the competition chairman, his name escapes me, who was up there with Ridley, said, the way the course was designed, the way other courses are designed, and look, they are maxing out at other courses, and they're trying to max out here at Augusta too, without having to buy land and reroute roads like they did to Lincoln number 5 or Lincoln number 13. It's getting difficult. So I'm in agreement with him. A lot of people in the game aren't, though. He carries a big stick, but it's not the only stick in the game.
Is that, speaking of the property, is that house still there that they won't sell to Augusta?
I've not specifically driven by it, but both owners, the couple who owned it, they've both passed away. The wife passed away since last year's Masters. So I imagine their heirs are going to get they're going to get a Godfather offer that someone won't be able to refuse from Augusta National pretty soon, I'm sure.
There's a grandson.
Hooters is gone, though. The Hooters
there's
is
a
gone,
grandson.
Charlie.
Okay, well, that's bad for John Daly, I guess. The grandson had said that he wasn't going to sell it, but when somebody puts that check in your hand, for those that don't know what we're talking about, there is one house. It's a very modest house, about 1,700 square feet. It's like a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom house. There's nothing special about it other than it's right in the middle of the doggone property. And Augusta National has been trying to buy it for the better part of 40 years, and the couple that lived there had built the house back, I think, in the 50s. And and just would not sell it. It was like, you can't make us an offer. And the Masters were like, nonsense. We've got more money than anybody. And they turned down every offer that they ever got on it. And you're telling me that the lady has passed away. So we'll see if they can persuade them. But that's the one piece of property, and it's less than, I think it's less than half an acre. But it's right in the middle of where they want to be.
It's very small. When I first came to the Masters in 2002, there was a whole neighborhood on the north side of the course that is gone now, and all that area is just free parking for the patrons. And that's the one house that's left from that neighborhood is that one. But I assume eventually they'll get. There's a fascinating story, by the way, on Golf Magazine, golf.com, about all the land acquisitions they've made. They supposedly have spent about $500 million in land acquisitions in I don't know, the last 20, 25 years. And they continue to look to expand their footprint. It's the course that ate Augusta, that's for sure.
Okay, Scott. Last year it was about Scotty Scheffler and Rory McIlroy trying to complete the career Grand Slam. What's the biggest story? Pick your favorite one this year. What's the biggest story before we get into your picks? The biggest story heading into the Masters, the one that interests you the most.
Obviously, with a local angle, can Scotty Scheffler win again, keep this even-numbered year thing going? and it would be a 5th win for Ted Scott, his caddy, which would tie the record. So that's of interest. Is one of the live leaders that are remaining going to win, like Bryson DeChambeau or John Rahm. Bryson was in the final group last year with Rory and faded to 5th. And of course, John Rahm has won and has been having a very good season so far on the live tour. I wrote today, it's in today's paper, it's on our website right now, about Gary Woodland. This guy had a brain tumor, had surgery 3 years ago. Now he suffers from PTSD. Charlie, it was perhaps the most remarkable press conference I've ever been to yesterday. He was so open and emotional about what he's gone through. He said at the Houston Open 2 weeks ago, he thought during the second round someone was trying to kill him. I mean, not like, ha ha, you made me mad, I'm going to kill you. Literally trying to kill him. He has these feelings that just come out of nowhere all the time. And he won the tournament. I mean, it's hard enough to compete professionally at the highest level like these guys do in any sport, much less if you're dealing with a mental disorder. But that's what he deals with as a byproduct of this surgery. So he won at Houston, and he's back in the tournament this year. He missed last year because his game had kind of gone downhill because of his brain issues. And if you don't have a sentimental favorite, I suggest you pick Gary Woodland because it's a remarkable story.
All right, Scott, you're on a hot streak. You had UCLA to win the women's national championship in basketball. So, who are your choices to win the Masters?
Oh, yeah, it's often a little tougher. It's kind of boring, but it's hard to go to Scheffler. I know he's not maybe on the best form that like he was 2 years ago when he won the Players coming in here. He did win in Palm Springs earlier this year, as y'all know. But he's so good, and I agree with some of the talking heads like on Golf Channel. It's been dry all week. There's no rain in the forecast, so it's going to be firm and fast, and that plays into the hands of the better players, the experienced players, guys who have success and confidence on this course. That means Scottie Scheffler and Rory, although it's hard to repeat, and John Rahm and people like that. But I'm going to go with Scottie. If you don't want to go with Scottie, I would go with the Players champion Cam Young. His best finish here is a tie for 7th 3 years ago, but he's got three straight top tens coming in here, including that win at the Players. And then farther down the list, Ludwig Oberg. Everyone says he's got a major championship in his future, and I think it could happen at any time. And if it happened this week, I wouldn't be shocked. But I'll go with Scottie. If one player, I'll go with Scottie.
Yeah, got to give out the green jacket on Saturday. Allberg would be Jimmy's choice.
Yes, he's a 54-hole king. Yes.
Be really good on the old lip.
Ruined my Easter.
Scott, before we let you go, I know you got a lot to do there covering the event. Your thoughts on LSU gymnastics moving into the Nationals next week? In 2 weeks in Fort Worth.
Yeah.
They had a season high 198-375 in the preliminary round, and then with a really solid and room to spare win in the regional finals against Stanford and Clemson at 197-8. What kind of form are they in? And I know they had a couple of injuries as well during this thing. Heading into Fort Worth, that event starts on the 16th.
That's right. Next week in Fort Worth, they looked like if the national championship final had been the day of the regional semifinal, they would have won the national championship. I mean, they had the best score in the regionals, but then they were a little off. The landings were just little fractional things, hop in little landings and stuff like that in the regional final. Still plenty good enough to win the regional final, as you said, but not quite as sharp. Look, I think there's 4 teams at most that can win the national championship: LSU, Oklahoma, Florida, and I would throw UCLA into the mix. That's it. I think for LSU, it's obviously you got to keep hoping. They got to keep hoping that Kaylin Chio continues the form she's been on. She had 3 more 10s in the regional. It was amazing. Kalia Lincoln's been good. The big X factor is Connor McLean. She hurt herself on bars, had a big fall from the upper bar, which is really up there. Missed the upper bar, appeared to hurt her arm. We haven't heard anything about her yet. they need her to do at least a couple of events and be on form. You know, if they're kind of compromised at that point, I think they can get into the final. But winning it, they need her to help them out, and I think that's going to be a big thing, a huge factor moving forward to next week for the finals.
National semifinals are LSU, Florida, Stanford, and Georgia on LSU's side of the bracket, Oklahoma and UCLA on the other side, along with Minnesota and Arkansas. Scott, enjoy the tournament. We know you will. Safe travels back, and we will talk to you next Wednesday.
Thanks, fellas. Appreciate it. Take care.
And we are brought to you by the Thibodeau Store. You're doing crawfish right now? Get those crawfish clean. Crawfish washers are available at all 4 locations. Thibodeau Store, the Pierre Part Store, also in LaRose and Lockport. Go to the website, thethibodeaustore.com. You're doing yard work. You're getting your property in shape here as we've begun spring. Get your lawn and garden tools. They're on special right now on the website. Channel lock tools also at a discount on the website. You can get to all 4 of the properties at thethibodeaustore.com. 900 St. Patrick Highway in Thibodaux, Highway 70 in Pierre Part. All of your lawn and garden tools, your power tools, patio furniture, as well as all your outdoor cooking needs, including your big green egg cookers, which is Jimmy's favorite. You can get their accessories at the Thibodeau Store, again, 900 St. Patrick Highway. And online, it's thethibodeaustore.com. Live at Modesto, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Modesto on Burbank on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. From east, north to south, but we're heading west. It's Wes Reynolds from VSiN.
Wes, it's Masters Week, buddy. Thanks for joining the show today. Let's get right to it. What are we looking at?
Yeah, we're going slightly to the top of the board with the second choice. We're going with Jon Rahm, who you can still maybe get a little bit north of 10-1. The 15s, obviously, from a couple weeks ago, disappeared. But look at his 5 starts this year: 2-2-1-5-2. I know that's been on LIV, and all these events have been in the middle of the night, but that's an average finish of 2.4. So he's obviously playing very well, leads that tour in greens and regulation. And I think he comes in with a good mindset. If you remember a couple of years ago when he first joined LIV, he was the defending champion and, you know, having to answer all that questions, maybe had misgivings about his decision to go there. And now this year, I think it's kind of like, okay, I'm at peace with it. I'm here now. And now I'm back on the big stage and to tell the golf world, like, hey, remember me, that he's still one of the great players in the game. So big chance at the second green jacket. So Jon Rahm, Xander Schauffele, who I got at 18. He's probably in the mid-teens right now. Had that injury-riddled season last year in 2025 with that rib issue. But he's starting to peak, I think, kind of at the right time after a slow start in the first couple of events this year. 3 top 7s in his last 4 starts. 3rd at the Players. And this is a guy, he's a banker. Like, if you want to bet him at a placement market, like a top 10, he's been top 10 in 17 of his 34 career majors. So I would be surprised if he wasn't on the first page of the leaderboard on Sunday. And then a couple guys in the 20s, Cameron Young, who was good to us at the Players. I think it's time for him to win a major at some point this year. And I think winning that Players kind of, I think, showed everybody this guy's a big game player and is going to be for years to come. So Cameron Young, Matt Fitzpatrick, another one who actually finished second to him at the Players and then won the very next week at the Valspar, has never really contended here before, even though he's a U.S. Open champion, so he's a proven commodity in majors, but never has contended here before. But he's starting to really stripe it with the irons, and he's playing as well as he's played in probably the last few years. And then Min-Woo Lee, who does not come in with a win, about 35-1. Last year he was a winner at the Houston Open, came in here. But this year, no win, but 6 top 10s in his last 12 starts, and a guy that can absolutely rip it off the tee and can hit it all over the place and get away with it, and a pretty good scrambler around the green. So Min-Woo Lee, and then Patrick Reed at around 40-1, former champion here. Just always seems to be up there. Like you saw it last year, it's like, how do you finish 3rd? Well, that's what he does. He's finished top 4 here in 2 of the last 3 years. He's already got 2 wins this year, by the way, over on the DP World Tour, because he can't come back to the PGA Tour until about the end of August. But already 2 wins over there on the DP and another runner-up. So I think Patrick Reed's got a big chance this week. And then kind of my long shot, and I don't really have super long shots usually for the Masters because super long shots don't necessarily win the Masters if you look at recent years. But Akshay Bhatia at 65 to 1, I thought was a big price for a guy that won a big signature event just a month ago at the Arnold Palmer, and 8th in the Tour on approach, 10th in putting. And there were guys that are priced shorter than him that don't have the win equity that this guy does. Left-handers have done well here with Bubba and Phil and Mike Weir and company. I think he's another one. I think Akshay is a contender on Sunday.
All right. So, now, Wes, with the, you give us 7 different golfers. Now, how would you, like Max, for instance, he bets everything to make the same amount, to win the same amount. So he would, bet 4 times less on Patrick Reed than John Rahm. What betting strategy on the list that you gave us?
Yeah, I do the same thing, Jimmy, that Max does, where you kind of proportion it. And look, some years are better than others, and I've had really great outright years. This has not been probably the best start for me this year. So in order to make money on that, you're not going to make money if you're not winning the outright. So the way to do that is to bet the placement market. So I proportion my futures bets and my outright bets a little bit smaller than I'm going to necessarily do my placements, my top 10s, my top 20s, top 30s. So that's really the way I play it here. And I think that by and large, I think that's a good general rule, because some year you'll hit an outright tournaments if you're winning every week, if you're playing every week. Some year you'll just see a couple, and that's what it's been so far. So that's the way I go ahead and proportion it accordingly.
Such much bigger menu than the usual tournament as well. Are you diversified into matchups or any other props that we're looking at?
Yeah, I'll play a couple props. One that I did play, I played Jacob Bridgman, the second choice at low debutante, which is anywhere about 6 or 6.5 to 1. Goddard's the rightful favorite. He's won 3 times in the last 10 months, but Bridgman won there at Riviera at the Genesis, and Riviera has a pretty strong correlation with Augusta. A lot of guys that have won there have won at Augusta and vice versa. So I think Bridgman, he'll take to these greens too. He's one of the better putters on the tour, so I think he'll adapt to these fast bent grass greens. So that is one I played. I'm going to get in the low nationality. I'll probably play the chalk in the low Canadian with Corey Connors, who doesn't seem to be long enough to win here, but he's good enough to compete here, and he's got a few top 10s here over the years. So Corey Connors, that's the chalk at the low Canadian market, and then have a few different props I'll play, maybe some fun ones. I don't really get into like the low amateur or something like that, because I have no idea who to necessarily play. It's kind of like throw a blanket over them and see who comes out first. So those aren't ones I'll necessarily play, but I'll play a couple of the like low left-hander. I think Akshay at 2 to 1. Now you got to beat Robert McIntyre to win that. Obviously, he's the favorite, but that would be an interesting one to play, I think.
Wes, one question. We've been getting a lot of reports on the grounds about how this was going to be one of the firmer and faster Masters in history. They haven't had rain in 2 weeks. No real rain expected in the forecast, but light wind expected as well. A little bit on Thursday morning, it looks like, but not a whole lot the rest of the way. I know there are a lot of pools out there. You have to pick a winning score. There's also ways to bet the winning score. We've seen a lot of winning scores traditionally somewhere between 11 and 13 under. Do you think it's going to play a little bit difficult, more difficult than normal with it being firmer, or do you think with the distance that'll be added, it might actually play a little bit easier?
Yeah, I think Max is going to kind of be right around where the average is. I would say like right around 13 under, because even though it's firm and fast, they're still going to deluge this course with water, because they obviously want to make it nice and pretty for all of us watching at television, wherever we're watching. So they're going to water this course, I think, pretty heavily. So it's not going to be soft, but I think it's going to be around the same here. The winds are going to blow a little bit Thursday, so maybe you get a little bit lower score for the first round leader. Maybe you don't get a 64 or 65. Maybe it's 66 or 67, but I still think it's going to play right around the average, like right at 13 under or so.
Wes, we put a cap on the college basketball season, and now we've seen another high-profile, an ultimate blue blood coaching hire. And well, they struck out on a lot of guys before they had a 5-hour Sunday meeting with Mike Malone to convince him, to come coach in Chapel Hill. This is just a year after that Rick Pitino's having to. I'm sorry, 2 years after that, Pitino is having to put out a video saying, "Oh, Kentucky, y'all hired a great coach in Mark Pope." Just the shifting of it, and Dusty May, man, he has done it in a short period of time. He's on the top of the world.
Yeah, are you guys sick of all the big trash talk yet down there? Because now it kind of feels like it's that conference's term, the go big or go home that they put out, because keeping all the championships right now. But Dusty, look, I'm very happy for him. He's an Indiana guy. He paid his dues. He was an assistant for 13 years, including 6 years at Louisiana Tech with Mike White. So, he paid his dues, and he earned it. And I think, Michigan proved to be the best team. Danny Hurley and his guys put up a fight. But the deserved champion. Then he did mention Michael Malone. I don't know what kind of hire that's going to be, so I'm not going to, crap on it, but it is a little bit out of left field. And clearly he probably wasn't their first option, but we'll see how it works. Look, this is a guy that won an NBA championship, so you at least got to give credit for that. But we're going to see. I mean, I'm waiting to see if they're going to hire Tony La Russa as the baseball manager for the Tar Heels, because they've gone with Belichick, they've gone with Malone. Now are they going to go with Tony La Russa or Jim Leland or somebody? I mean, they might as well do that
they're going to go get Bochy.
Bruce Bochy, so. That'd be another good one. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I mean, Iowa State, both, declined. I mean, it was a lot of no's. That doesn't mean, Pete Carroll. I mean, USC was given a lot of no's before they hired Pete Carroll, and that worked out pretty good for them. So it's not necessarily, but it's just. It's a little bit of a sign that the Blue Bloods are, it's the level, the playing field's level. And there's no doubt, Wes. You got to to look at the scoreboard. Big Ten is on top of the world. Difference is see, we'll acknowledge it around here when the Big Ten is on top of the world. We didn't get that reciprocity a whole lot from Big Ten country when the SEC. We have a lot of excuses along the way.
Well, sure, yeah, absolutely. Now, y'all are going to probably get it in baseball. It's baseball season now, so now the Big Ten goes and hibernates for the spring based on.
I don't know. You got the number one team. You got the number one team. Yeah. Traditional Big Ten member UCLA.
Yes,
number one in the country.
Absolutely. Because people were asking, it's like, are you claiming UCLA as the women's champion basketball? I was like, yes, I guess they're an official member now. The map and everything that goes from California to New Jersey, but that's just the way it is now in college sports. Like now getting into the transfer portal, and we're following all the roster movement every day. And nowadays, if you're in the SEC or the Big Ten or one of the power conferences, everybody's been talking about it. You got to have like a $12 to $15 million roster just to compete. I mean, that's just the way it is now with this transfer portal and everything. Like Dusty's team at Michigan was very portal heavy this year, but then next year he's got 5 freshmen coming in. So you're going to have to build rosters different ways in different years, I think, to stay on top of that sport.
And and not all transfers hit. All we got to do is watch in Norvell at Florida State. I mean, they had a high hit rate that year. They went undefeated. The next year they didn't hit on too many, but he embraces it, man. The guys that embrace it are just better at it, and he's really, really good. He likes length, no doubt about it. Go get it. And that's the thing to me. The biggest thing, Wes, is we saw more of this pace and space, just unlimited, just shoot as many threes as you can. There's no such thing as a bad three. These were attack the rim and defend the rim participants. You could put Duke in there, UConn, and in Michigan. It was built like an old school team.
And that's exactly why, guys, in the portal, I know it's only been open officially for about a day, and why these big guys are commanding so much money. There was the rumor that Texas Tech offered $5 million for Flory Badunga from Kansas. The kid Prue from Louisville is getting a lot of suitors. And, these big guys are still at a premium, even in this pace and space era of college basketball where teams shoot 43s a game. You got to have rim protection, and you got to have some size down there. And that's why these big guys, it's just going up and up and up. And you wonder how long this is sustainable, because eventually you get some donor fatigue. It's like, hey, I just gave $250,000 last year. Now you want me to give $400,000 or $500,000. So How long does this last? I don't know, but somebody's finding the money somewhere, at least for now.
Yes, indeed. Wes, great stuff as always, man. Good luck in the Masters this weekend. Excellent stuff as always. We'll talk to you next week. Thank you, buddy.
You bet, guys. Thanks for having me.
All right. Don't forget our friends over here at United Community Bank, the local way to bank big, not too far down Burbank from where we are here at Modesto today on the beautiful patio today, man. Get outside and enjoy the weather. Last little cool type of This is going to be a long time probably before we get some more weather like this. But anyway, at United Community Bank, I have an account with the folks at that branch at Burbank and Bluebonnet. They're a great team of bankers. They're so pleasant to deal with. Prentice Wilkes, Heath Meir, Nicole Glover, Hunter Creed, David Campbell, David Henry, Albany. The market's rolling again today. I mean, just all kinds of volatility. They have options. They have CDs that are available when you're not comfortable with some traditional markets. Whatever it is, running a business can be difficult, man. With United Community Bank's local business bankers, we are here for you. Lean on us for help. So stop on in and see how we can help your business today. United Community Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Our consensus picks coming up next here for the Masters, live at Modesto, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Our Wednesday consensus golf picks are brought to you by Dana Brown at the law offices of O.C. Brown.
It's Masters week, and let's get right to it, Max. Let's get to it. Who are we looking at?
All right, so I'm going to start off my card with a very popular pick this week. It seems like everyone's kind of on him, which makes me a little bit nervous. However, I've been betting him ever since the 2019 Masters. I had him. He finished runner-up to Tiger Woods that year. I think everyone was kind of happy for Tiger to win. But Xander Schauffele is 17.5 to 1 right now at Bally's at the DraftKings Sportsbook, plus 1750. Really like the way his game is trending, and to me, he's a perfect fit for this golf course. Yet to really fully be in the mix. I mentioned that runner-up at the 2019 Masters. Also had a third place in 2021. Has 3 consecutive top 10 finishes here, so he has got a lot of good track record, good pedigree here, but also coming in with a third place at the Players, 4th place the week after at the Valspar. His iron play has been elite. It is back. His driver is not quite what it was a couple of years ago when he won the 2 majors in a year, but his putter is trending in the right direction as well. Has always done pretty well around these greens. I think you're going to have to be really good around the greens, considering the firmness of the greens. I think there are going to be some missed greens this week. So ball strikers are at the top. You've got to be able to hit your irons well, and you have to be able to chip when you chip and get up and down, scramble your way around when you're unable to hit these very small targets on these putting greens. Tommy Fleetwood, 24 to 1, yet to win a major. He's got 1 win on the PGA Tour. That was the Tour Championship last year. Maybe that's a chance for him to break through this time around. He's got 4 of 5 top 10 finishes this season on the PGA Tour, including 8th place at the Players. Has not been putting well as of late, but that's a little bit abnormal for him, at least the way he putted last year. Over his career, he's not been the best putter, but I think if he catches a hot putter this week, we've seen some not-so-great putters win here in the past. Adam Scott, Bubba Watson. You think of some players who have Scotty Scheffler, when he first won, was kind of known as not a great putter. He finished 3rd here a couple of years ago at the Masters. Kind of a shaky track record here. Not all that many great finishes, but I do think this course fits him to a T. Currently 4th in the world golf rankings, and I think he might break through with a win after seeing his buddy Rory win last year. Patrick Reed, 42 to 1. This is a guy who I might be chasing a little bit from last year. He should have been in the conversation. I think he 3-putted the par 5 13th. Otherwise, he would have been in the playoff with Justin Rose and Rory McIlroy. He has gotten just a tremendous track record. He's right up there with Jordan Spieth in terms of how many times he's competed at this golf tournament, including putting on the green jacket back in 2018. He hasn't played in a month. We haven't seen him in a while, but he's been playing on the DP World Tour since leaving LIV. Had 2 wins on the DP World Tour, also 2 other top 10 finishes. So he's got 4 top 10s in 5 starts. As I mentioned, we haven't seen him in a while, but he sounded very confident in his press conference, kept talking about how well he feels around this place. So Patrick Reed, 42-1 from Augusta. Maybe he gets the good vibes back on Augusta National. And then finally, Adam Scott, a former winner here, the Australian, 80-1, has not been playing well here as of late. Kind of been missing cuts. He missed a cut last year at the 2025 Masters. But his iron play right now is as good as it's ever been. He's always been an elite iron player, but he is striking the ball beautifully right now. If he can catch a hot putter this week, I could see him contending once again as he did in 2013. So my outright winners, Schauffele, Fleetwood, Reed, and Scott. And I've got some tournament props as well if you'd like to get to those as well, Jimmy. First round leader, we hit Justin Rose here last year at 60-1.
Oh, yes.
I'm going to look for Siwoo Kim at 54-1 this week. You're just looking for somebody who can get hot in one round. I don't think they can necessarily contend for the tournament. Jacob Bridgman is a debutant, so I ruled him out. I scratched him out for winning the tournament, but 63-1 to be first-round leader. I think he can get things going. Corey Connors has always been a good first-round leader as well, or maybe not leader, but has always played well here at Augusta National. He's 63-1. Then a couple long shots, Michael Kim and Rasmus Nergaard Peterson, both over 100-1. If you're looking for a first-round top 20 finish, you can do that. Cameron Smith, Jimmy, I know he hasn't been playing well, but even last year when he missed the cut, he did well in the first round. He has always played well here in first round, so he's plus 175 to be in the top 20 after round number 1. Sergio Garcia playing really poorly. He's missed 5 of his last 6 cuts here at the Masters. I know he's a former champion, but he is plus 108 to miss the cut. I think he does not make the weekend. He sounds really bad, down bad about his game. And then the top senior market. I'm going to go with a favorite. This is pretty annoying. I know a lot of people don't really like him after his Ryder Cup captaincy, but Zach Johnson is minus 104, right around even money, to be the top senior. He just got to 50 years old, and he went to the Champions Tour and has been tearing it up. He won his first event on the Champions Tour, finished top 5 in his last 2 starts on the Champions Tour as well. You don't have Tiger. You don't have Phil in this market anymore. So he finished 8th place at last year's Masters. He's shown that he can still contend at his age. So I think Zach Johnson at minus 104, to me, that should be closer to minus 200 in my eyes to be top senior at the Masters.
I was about to say I got to be pretty short. So minus money on Johnson for top senior. So our consensus picks, it'll be Xander Schauffele and Patrick Reed. So Xander Schauffele at 15-1, Patrick Reed around 40-1. Our consensus picks this week brought to you by Dana Brown at the law offices of O.C. Brown. Your law firm for a lifetime, 343-1111. Get in a wreck like I did. Got 2 cars totaled, man. The airbags deploy. You get in a wreck. You're dealing with the insurance company, and I like how they changed their tune, from one day to the next. Oh, thanks for saving my daughter's life. Oh, well, she didn't really cut in front of you. No, Dana, handle all this, please. Okay, so he's going to take every step. It's a pain in the butt, there's no doubt, but he is going to make it as pain-free as possible. So every step of the way, setting you up with doctor's appointments, doctor specialists, and dealing with the insurance companies a lot. So give them a call, 343-1111. Never a charge for that initial consultation. Dana Brown at the law offices of O.C. Brown.
Not one person has mentioned Rory McIlroy today.
3 times has a defending champion won back-to-back years. We mentioned it yesterday. Tiger Woods, Nick Faldo, and Jack Nicklaus. It doesn't happen very often, but the pressure is off of him. He doesn't have that weight on his shoulders of can he finally get a green jacket. At least that's off of him. But the Masters dinner is past him. That was yesterday, and so I'm sure his full focus is trying to defend his title. But
and I'm not saying I expect him to win, but he's still the 4th or 5th choice.
I listened to the author of his biography, and he was saying that he felt that he was going with that approach as well. Thought that a lot of pressure off, and that he could just play, and that he would not be surprised if he has a very strong tournament.
And we still don't know anything. Morikawa is going to play.
He's working through it.
It doesn't sound good.
This is a bad tournament to kind of work through.
The Masters has so much data and so much video. It's the most covered event. It's like the Super Bowl, right? You get to the actual event, you feel like everything has been covered to the utmost degree. They are tracking his ball speed numbers off the driving range. You can track that, and they're down compared to normal. So it doesn't even look like he's really fully swinging with the driver. And he said, he hasn't really been able to fully practice. So as good a form as he was in just a month or so ago, I don't know how you can trust him to actually make it all 4 rounds and put a admirable performance together where he's in contention.
Yes, but a couple more guys. Justin Rose, the maybe sentimental favorite from a lot of people, given his the way he handled a pretty tough situation last year, losing to Rory the way he did, still playing well.
Would be a great story. Won earlier this year at Torrey Pines. I get the case for him. To me, it's a little bit too much to ask at his odds. I couldn't bet him at his price. He's down to like 35 to 1 stuff, but he was 13th at the Players. Has an incredible track record. 3 runner-up finishes here, and as we've mentioned before, has finished as the first-round leader, either a share or a solo lead.
It always
5
seems
times.
like he is in the hunt in the first round.
He's always in the mix. Now, granted, he's missed 3 cuts in his last 7 events, so sometimes he can just completely fall off. But if he's in the mix, you feel like he's not just going to go away. And he's won a major. He's done it before, so it's not like this would be a terrible ask, but would certainly be a sentimental, one of the more popular winners if
Max,
he were to win this week.
Even when he's not in form, he seems like he always gets off to a hot start at the Masters.
I mean, 5 first-round leads. I can't argue with that. He's certainly
5 of them.
5 times. It's crazy. It's crazy. That's why I bet him last year.
What's his odds at first round?
It's like 35 to 1. People are picking up on that.
Well, I mean,
maybe worth a shot. I can't blame.
Who else has 5 first-round leads?
No one.
Nobody.
And Jordan Spieth, six top 5s at this tournament in his life. He was top 15 last year. I know he hadn't won in a long time.
But the rough is not as penalizing, huh?
Second cut, sir.
Yeah, second cut. That's right. Thanks for saving us there, Charlie. I bet him top 20 this week. He almost made my outright card because I always bet him at this event. Ultimately, I just don't. He hasn't really contended in a while. I want to see him contend in some tournament before I just think he's going to win. He hasn't won in 3 or 4 years now, so that's what I kept me off the outright sheet for him. But he's got top 12 finishes in 3 of his last 5 starts. His iron play is good, and when he comes back here, he always has good vibes. Even at times when he's come in bad form, he's oftentimes played pretty well here. So I can't blame you. I think placement markets, top 10, top 20, are the way to go with Spieth. I would love to see it, but it's hard for me to see him actually getting the job done when he hasn't really contended in a tournament in quite some time.
We're brought to you also by Coastal Capital Advisors, your full-service financial planners for retirement. Comes to retirement, your situation is unique. Let Phil Fontenot and his staff help you out. They can answer all your questions. Make a plan for when you want to retire, how much you need to retire. No matter what your age or your situation in life, let them work out a plan that'll help you. CoastalCapitalADV.com is the website to set up an appointment. Coastal Capital Advisors, member FINRA, SIPC. Live at Modesto, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from Modesto on Burbank on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Pirates and Padres scoreless in the 5th in the rubber match of that series. But the bigger news for Pittsburgh yesterday was that the Pirates made it official. This was reported earlier in the week, but made it official yesterday. Connor Griffin, 9 years, $140 million, former LSU signee. That, of course, is the biggest deal ever for a player, 19 years old. And $140 million represents the biggest deal by $10 million that surpassed Roman Anthony and the Red Sox. And they essentially bought 3 years of his free agency, 6 years in advance. I'll give him credit for a team that has not spent any money since it seems like the Jim Leland, Doug Drabeck, Barry Bonds, Bobby Bonilla era. They're at least trying, Jimmy, to spend a little bit of money. They've got some young talent.
They're aware with the Skeens. They have a window, and it's not going to be forever. To try and capitalize on this guy, and this guy's far from ready. I think as far as hitting major league pitching. But, man, he can do everything. Well, he beat out a ground ball to third with Manny Machado. I've seen a million of those plays made, and I just hadn't seen many guys, nobody, beat out a ground ball like that. It wasn't super hard hit, but it's kind of a routine play for Manny. Not last night. He legged it out for a single. He won the Gold Glove, the minor league Gold Glove last night. He's flawless at short. To me, he's Bobby Witt-esque. At short. I mean, how quickly that bat comes around. I think Roman Anthony is a good comparison because the young and Jackson Merrill as well. Merrill is probably the most complete all-around player of those three. I mean, he was right there for Rookie of the Year, but Anthony is more. He's more ready to hit the ball, but he's not the tools player that this kid is. I mean, this kid's got. He's elite tools, but he might bat 220 this year. He might bat 200 this year. Heck, the league average is 235.
Yeah.
So far, I mean, the entire league is only batting 235. So
if you polled every general manager and you asked them what pitcher under the age of 25 that you wanted, I think you'd go 30 for 30 that it'd be Paul Skeens. If you asked 30 general managers which non-pitcher they wanted under the age of 25, I don't know if he'd go 30 for 30, but I think he'd win that poll. Witt is now 25, so under 25, the Pirates might have the best hitting prospect and the best pitching prospect.
Over Jackson Merrill.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I don't know if you'd go 30 for 30 with either one of them, but it would be.
Merrill's the most complete of
right
those
now,
three.
But this kid's 19.
Yeah.
So
Merrill was a rookie, but he wasn't 19 when he was a rookie 2 years ago.
Right.
When Skeens and him.
It's a little bit of a projection.
When it was a very tight, and we know how good Skeens was. It's a very tight vote for Rookie of the Year.
And this contract, look, somebody offers you $140 million at the age of 19, and you take it. I'm not going to say anything bad about you, but there's a case to be made that he's leaving money on the table. This is 3 years of free agency.
All three of them left money on the table, in my opinion.
But, of course, you can have a catastrophic injury at any point. But 3 years of free agency,
safe play
in your 20s.
Safe play.
It is.
But he's the youngest, huh? I mean,
he turns 20 in 3 weeks.
Yeah, I know.
So he's the youngest of the group.
Where's Anthony?
He's just turned 21, I think.
Okay, so he was 20 last year when he did it.
He was.
Merrill would
right about 21, 22. Like thanks to our friends here at Modesto for being our host tomorrow. We're at Iverstein Butcher on Jefferson Highway to get you ready for the weekend. Thanks to everybody, and stay tuned for Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.